Do you think this world is orderly or chaotic? We normal people don't have too much time to think about that. Every day, you return in the evening, have a family meal, and the TV shows news about the world situation. America is conducting presidential elections, the Middle East is tense, or hunger in Africa is increasing, serious. You don't pay much attention because it hardly affects you. Then suddenly, in an instant, you see that this world is unpredictable. No one knows what will happen next. However, what if all the major events of the other world were prearranged? You start to be curious, looking for the mysterious symbol that appears. This is a symbol associated with a long-standing secret organization that has been operating strongly for hundreds of years with the principle of pursuing social progress to bring perfection to the world. They are considered enlighteners through their tremendous influence on economics, politics, and other important issues of humanity. So who are they really? How did they capture, control, and manipulate humanity? Don't take your eyes off the screen, because right here will be a journey to find and decode the secrets of the Freemasons, those who run the world. Certainly, before we want to understand something deeply, we need to know its origin. Because it is a secret society, most information about Freemasonry exists in the form of speculation and theory. Right from the origins of the organization, there have been countless sources of explanatory information. First of all, if we consider the original English name of the association, Freemason, we can easily explain the meaning. Freemason means freelance bricklayer, made up of two separate words. Free meaning free, and Mason meaning bricklayer. In this way, support has been given to the view that Freemasonry originated around the late 16th to early 17th centuries, around the time that professional organizations in England began to be established. Initially, professional organizations were only meant as a way to store special professional skills, avoiding them being transmitted outside without control. Those who are eligible to join the association must also meet technical and skill standards from there. The organization will ensure remuneration for workers by certifying their abilities in the market. You can imagine it as a type of high-level skills certificate. Among the professional organizations that had strong forces at that time, the most typical was the Stonemason Association. Evidence of their talent can be easily seen throughout England, where many stone buildings still stand strong even after many years. Masonry skills are assessed at 3 levels: apprentice, journeyman, and master. Each skill level moves the worker to a higher level of certification, and they receive higher compensation. It sounds like this is a completely normal organization like many groups today, but at that time, the secrecy of the association became important in the Mason group. They are required to choose their workmates carefully, and new apprentices must swear to keep the techniques perfected over centuries a secret. To ensure control over their members, Masons organized into small guilds. Each clan appoints a master craftsman, the person with the highest qualifications, to be the leader. Just like that, many states were gradually formed in many places across the country. It started out as a place that only aimed to preserve professional techniques, but that all changed in 1717. Obviously, when there was a strong enough force, the Masons gradually realized they could not only be interested in construction anymore. They needed something bigger, a kind of power worthy of the growth of the association, for example. The leaders of the Stonemasons Association and several other professional associations met at a secret location to establish the Freemasons. The goal of the new organization is to surpass the goals of the original union, with many irreplaceable professions holding the power to make national economic and social decisions. It has the status of a pseudo-religious organization, reflecting established values. At that time, this marked the beginning of the Freemasons as a hidden power on a national scale. It can be seen that, according to the idea of explaining the origin based on simplicity, the Freemasons only originated a few hundred years ago. However, later, Freemasons often added more ancient historical elements, legendary and symbolic, to their roots. They located their origin based on the art of construction, that is, when famous works in the world were born. A typical example can be the period of construction of the Jerusalem Temple, the Solomon Temple, by architect Hiram Abib. Freemasonry explains that the first foundations that formed the society already exist but have not been officially completed. Over time, records describe the practices of Freemasonry. Established their connection under the patronage of Euclid and Pythagoras, the fathers of geometry. Look at this symbol. The symbol of Freemasonry consists of a compass in geometry combined with an eek to measure right angles, creating an image similar to a pyramid. They are both tools that demonstrate mystical power and create the characteristics of the association, reminiscent of bricklayers. The mathematician Pythagoras, a pioneer in the foundations of all forms of architecture and mathematics, is posthumously considered one of the founding members of Freemasonry. Because of these things, the association has such a special symbol. In 1736, in France, people also believed that Freemasonry was related to the history of the Knights of the Cross or the Knights Templar. In short, Freemasonry is increasingly associated with its origins with symbolic myths in human history. Most of them are achievements that promote progress throughout history, the art of construction, and the values it evokes. But how did an organization that was only meant to gather highly skilled workers transform into a secret society with the power to manipulate the whole world? The answer is the way they expand their membership, as well as use mystical elements to enhance their own mystery. After the meeting in 1717, when there was a new decision, the Masonic Society was no longer limited to craftsmen, but welcomed all figures of high status in society. The most elite people in each field will often head a lodge, a local Masonic base that gathers a few dozen members. In the guilds, members can exchange ideas, pursue common interests, and discuss important expertise, despite expanding across Europe. The association still maintains the oath of secrecy among its members, adding a mystical and most important initiation ceremony. As mentioned, Freemasons began to use historical connections to create their own mystique. They cleverly associate themselves with martyrs to enhance the position of important organizations and individuals. They accepted that they were descendants of the Knights Templar to make people think that the Masons had inherited huge treasures. The hypothetical combination transformed an organization initially based on the practical concerns of craftsmen into an association of political and social luminaries and most of the elite flower of society. Scottish Freemasons claim that some of the most loyal followers of the last remaining Grand Master of the Templars escaped from France and came to Scotland to join the Freemasons. After their leader was executed, the gathered force grew stronger. By the 18th century, Scottish and Irish Freemasons moved to the north of France, where they became known as Ecus. Here, they expanded the traditional 3-degree system of Freemasonry to 33 degrees today. However, the decisive breakthrough that brought the power of Freemasonry to its peak was the rekindling of the development of lodges in America. Residents in America established the first Masonic lodge in Boston, Massachusetts, in 1733. Before gaining independence, America was still a colony of the British, so it was very easy for the Masons to expand their power through new areas. The number of members in the Boston clubhouse increased rapidly, beyond imagination. By the American Revolution, more than 100 such guilds were recorded across the country. As in England, American Freemasons represent the most powerful, talented, and ambitious class in society. Therefore, it is not surprising that 51 signers of the Declaration of Independence are said to have identified themselves as Freemasons. That list includes luminaries such as George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Patrick Henry, John Hancock, Paul Revere, John Paul Jones, Ethan Allen, Alexander Hamilton, and Benedict Arnold. After gaining independence, the Masons severed all contact with England and established a separate Great American State in 1777. The Masons consolidated their organization, refined their procedures, and expanded their influence on a scale that surpasses any guild in other countries. Along with promoting ritual and inheritance, being too strong and powerful also makes people doubt the true activities of the association. The mystery covers without solution. They are considered the most powerful people operating in the dark. So how great is their power really? It will not be too difficult for us to find a testament to the enormous power of the Freemasons. The mark of this organization in American political history is extremely clear. It appeared right from the way George Washington, the first president, chose the capital for the new empire. Since gaining independence from the British, it took more than 10 years for George Washington to choose the land to be the capital of the United States. He did not choose the cities that were the birthplace of the American Revolution. Like Boston, Pennsylvania, or New York, according to George Washington's old vision, today's Washington, D.C. is the place with a geographical location that converges all extremely suitable geopolitical factors. The job of designing the political center of Washington, D.C. was assigned to a French architect, a member of the Freemasons. When he received the order to draw up a design project to start construction of Washington, D.C., in early 1791 from President George Washington, he immediately got to work. He applied many different architectural and design principles, both scientific and inheriting architectural traditions. Not only that, he also had to carefully calculate the size and standard symmetry of the works. With ingenuity, this engineer introduced religious elements, as well as harmoniously coordinated the influence of many elements of earth, water, wind, and fire to help the American government institution achieve prosperity and sustainability. Not only the main buildings symbolizing the government, but also the road and house systems were also designed by Elfont with feng shui elements, and, above all, expressing the mysterious symbols of the association, Freemasonry. So how are those symbols expressed? First, Elfont wisely did not place the National Assembly House and the White House on the same street. This is to prevent the two institutions of Parliament and government from confronting each other. From the Houses of Parliament to the White House and vice versa, one must go through at least two roads. Second, because President George Washington and most of America's founders were Christians, religious influence is clearly evident in the criteria for operating government. This is reflected in the design of the US dollar with the words, "In God we trust." If you connect two straight lines, one from the top of the dome of the U.S. Capitol building to the Abraham Lincoln Memorial, and the other from the White House to the Thomas Jefferson Memorial, you will see a giant cross located right in the area, center of American power. This is not only visible on the map, but also clearly seen in photos taken from above. Third, the metaphorical image of the owl, a Masonic mascot, is very present in the heart of American power. You can see two eyes looking down on the entire Washington Mall area, while the chest and heart cover the entire U.S. Capitol. For Freemasons, the owl image represents wisdom, the ability to see through and clearly see what others cannot see, no matter how carefully hidden. According to Greek mythology, the owl is the symbol of the goddess of learning. In some ancient Roman and Greek currencies, and today, the owl symbolizes status, intelligence, and innovation. For Freemasons, the owl is the leader of the night, protecting the souls and spiritual heritage of the deceased to pass on to the next generation. Not only geometry, the mark of Freemasonry is also shown in numbers. In natural numbers, Freemasons believe in the magic of a few typical numbers. Like the numbers 13 and 33, the number 33 corresponds to the 33 lumbar vertebrae of the vast majority of people on Earth. These 33 vertebrae are tightly connected, helping people stand upright and look forward. On the other hand, the 33rd degree is the final degree in the Masonic ranking scale. In addition to the number 33, the number 13 is also used frequently by this association. In Christianity and most other cultures, the number 13 is considered an unlucky number because it corresponds to the number of Judas, the last apostle who betrayed God. Any 13th day that falls on Friday is called an unlucky day. You may not know that up to now, many high-rise buildings in both Europe and Asia do not number the 13th floor. But for Freemasons, the number 13 is interpreted in positive aspects. Just as the number 33 corresponds to the number of human lumbar vertebrae, the number 13 is also interpreted by Freemasons in a human-centered way. Accordingly, the number 13 corresponds to the entire number of joints in the body, helping people move and move flexibly. It also shows 12 moving objects revolving around a certain nucleus. For example, the image of 12 apostles revolving around Jesus. They believe that the birth of America, with the 13 northern states, as the original founding members of the United States, is considered an arrangement by the Creator. Both the geometric and arithmetic examples above are just some of the many examples of the multifaceted influence of Freemasonry on America. The influences are easily seen right from the founding of the country. American elites not only believed in themselves in a healthy institution, but also believed that if their affairs were in accordance with the laws of heaven and earth, America would live long and prosper. However, if it is only within the United States, it is clear that you cannot see the terrible manipulative power of the Freemasons. Not simply influence in the country of the flag, but also intervention in a series of other important political apparatuses in the world. On June 18, 1982, this man was found dead under a bridge in London. The body was discovered by a postman going to work early on the morning of June 18, 1982, at Blackfriars Bridge, London. The deceased wore a European suit but no belt. The hand of the watch on his hand stopped at 1:52. He had a wallet containing various currencies, with a total value of about $13,000. And the passport bore the name G. Roberto Cini. Police determined the passport was fake. The deceased's real name is Roberto Calvi, president of Banco Ambrosiano, one of the largest private banks in Italy. Then this person, a week before, had disappeared from Italy. But how did he appear and die under a bridge in London? Learning about Roberto, British police learned that about 4 years ago, Banco Ambrosiano Bank, on Roberto's orders, illegally transferred the equivalent of $27 million outside of Italy. Roberto was later sentenced by an Italian court to 4 years in prison and nearly $20 million for illegal money transfer. In 1981, while Roberto was out on bail awaiting the outcome of his appeal, Banco Ambrosiano continued to be discovered to have lost more than $1.2 billion. Roberto then disappeared from his Rome apartment on June 10, 1982. That same month, the bank Banco Ambrosiano collapsed. Roberto's family did not believe this conclusion and asked to reopen the autopsy. During the second forensic examination in July 1983, authorities were again unable to come to a conclusion about the cause of death. By 1991, Roberto's family had hired a private detective to conduct their own investigation. The corpse and nearby objects were all taken for examination. The private investigator found that Roberto's pants and pockets were stuffed with bricks, but his hands were not tied. There is no dust from them, indicating that someone else put it there. In addition, Roberto's neck was injured but did not match the hanging death position. Roberto's shoes are free of rust or paint from the bridge wall. Furthermore, how could a 62-year-old man with poor health like Roberto climb the ladder alone under the bridge, where many people travel in London, like that? Finally, the private detective concluded that it was likely that someone had strangled Roberto and then staged the suicide. The water level of the Thames River had risen during the tide, so criminals only needed to take a boat to easily reach the beams of the bridge to stage the hanging. At this point, people were startled to realize that the bank director was involved in the activities of the Propaganda du Masonic Lodge, also known as P2 in the language of the underworld. Those bricks are the signal of a secret society that originated from Masons. Although they have gone far beyond their original goal, they have never forgotten their roots. Besides his connection with the P2 Association, authorities discovered that Roberto also interacted with the mafia relatively frequently. Roberto's bank helped both P2 and the mafia launder huge amounts of money, making an important contribution to the operations of the two organizations. From here, investigators hypothesized that both the mafia and the P2 Masonic Lodge may have cooperated to punish Roberto for letting the bank collapse, causing them to lose a large amount of money. The Propaganda do clubhouse that day was described by the media as a shadow government. According to an Italian government investigation conducted in 1981, this organization not only tried to infiltrate Parliament, but also wanted to take root in other agencies such as the Ministry of Defense and the Secret Service. In Europe, it is not only Italy that is being manipulated like this. There is a conspiracy theory that, hundreds of years ago, Freemasons actively participated in a great historical change that was launched in their homeland of France. We have absolutely enough basis to conclude that the change mentioned is the French Revolution, because it is consistent with the relationship between the Knights Templar and the Freemasons, as they still claim. After the change, the whole of France was just a giant secret society, and the French leadership was almost all Freemasons. Then, the whole world will soon join the system that the association builds. The Freemasons are indeed very large. Their power is not trivial, but to control the entire world is probably still not enough. Many members and large scale also mean it is difficult to control. To change the world, they need to have truly quality people inside, people who already carry the association's extremely high standards. So how did they continue to increase their influence? Do you know this famous doll? Matryoshka, a typical Russian doll. Actually, it's a set of hollow dolls ranging in size from large to small. The smallest doll will be contained inside a slightly larger doll. The large doll is in turn contained within another larger doll, and so on until the largest one contains all the remaining dolls in the set. Likewise, secret societies are known to exist within each other, with large societies containing smaller societies. The division is further concentrated through ancient alliances. Conspiracy theorists claim that Masonic lodges secretly harbor Illuminati members. The Illuminati is probably too famous. It is a real historical secret union organization founded by German Jesuits in 1776 in Bavaria, Germany, during the Enlightenment period in Europe. Their goal was to create a unitary government. To rule the world, the Illuminati were later said to have dissolved, but modern conspiracy theories assert that the group still exists and operates in the shadows, directing the industrial and political world. In 1770, Meyer Amschel Rothschild, one of America's largest bankers and a member of the Freemasons, invited this professor, who was teaching law at Ingolstadt University, to co-found the Illuminati Society in 1776 in Bavaria. The Illuminati were introduced to the Freemasons, and they became allies. Or you can also consider the Illuminati as the lodge that gathers the most elite members, the most extraordinary people of the Freemasons. For more than 200 years, the Illuminati have been associated with countless famous stories. The ultimate goal of this secret society is to overthrow world power and theocracy everywhere, change human nature, and dominate the entire world, uniting all countries and peoples into a global empire. Often the Illuminati secretly control world affairs. Behind the scenes of politics, thanks to a particularly close connection, it can be said that the Illuminati's activities are also the activities of the Freemasons. The members carrying out the conspiracy proposed by the Illuminati were basically drawn from the Freemasons. The connection between two powerful secret societies gave rise to a rumor that still persists among conspiracy enthusiasts to this day. They still believe that members of the Illuminati are controlling the Freemasons and other secret societies to make their original plan for world dominance come true. However, the Illuminati actually has many deep and complex activities that we will not be able to cover in today's video. If you want to know more about this secret society, Let us know in the comments below. Now, returning to the Freemasons, there is another issue related to this organization that has received a lot of attention. With a huge number of associations and many members, it will certainly be difficult to avoid cases where members intend to leave or threaten to disclose association information. So how does Freemasonry maintain its almost absolute secret power? This is William Morgan. You can easily find information that he is a typical anti-Masonic person. Born in Virginia in 1774, he and his young wife moved to Canada and became a winemaker. A mysterious fire destroyed his business, causing Morgan to return to America and settle in New York. After several failed businesses, he managed to join the Freemasons as a way out of debt. When his application to join a new Masonic lodge in Batavia, New York, was rejected on the grounds that he was a fraud, Morgan took revenge by writing a book attacking the Masons. However, this conspiracy theory relatively lacks basis and data to draw conclusions. No evidence was found that the Freemasons were involved in the death of the founding president. Later, basically, through a series of demonstrations of enormous power, you must have agreed that the variables that occur in the world are not random at all. They were clearly written in a script whose author was none other than the Freemasons themselves. So what will the future await humanity? In 1871, Albert Pike, a general officer of the United States Army and a member of the Freemason Society, wrote a letter to Italian politician Giuseppe Mazzini. In the letter, Pike predicted and outlined a scenario for 3 great wars in the world. The mysterious letter scripted how the First and Second World Wars would occur in the 1900s, and also predicted a Third World War, which would also be the final battle and end of humanity. Accordingly, he painted a scenario in which World War I was planned to overthrow the power of the Tsar in Russia and make the country a bastion of Neoism. Next, World War II would break out as a catalyst to destroy fascism so that the new ideology in Russia could balance with Christian countries and allow the Jewish government to have power enough to establish an Israeli sovereignty zone in Palestine. And finally, World War III, which Pike argues will be the last war, will be fought between the West and the leaders of the Islamic wars. The original prediction about that war is as follows. The Third World War will break out based on the irreconcilable differences of opinion between the Jewish state and the world's Muslim leaders. From then on, they will destroy each other. In the meantime, other countries will have to grapple with disputes related to morality, religion, and economic crises. It is time to relax atheism and nihilism. We will incite everyone to create a terrible social disaster in absolutely godless countries. Then, everywhere, people will have to stand up to protect themselves. As for Christians, they will become disoriented and no longer know where to put their trust. And that is when Lucifer worship appeared and brought the light of truth to the public. This is all the remaining information in Pike's letter that is still preserved. Up to now, documents related to this letter have mysteriously disappeared in 1970, despite having been displayed in British museum libraries before. The fact that the letter went missing for no reason, along with the fact that French astrologer Nostradamus once predicted a Muslim army entering Europe, made many people worried about predicting World War II. 3 will soon begin and end in 27 years' time, further pushing the climax to its climax. Now, let's look at the present. The Gaza Strip over the past year has been in a state no different from a real war. Infrastructure was destroyed, and both sides continuously had intense fighting. Although it's not yet a total war, who can be sure that today's small fire won't flare up and burn the whole forest? Not stopping there, you probably still remember the attack that Iran carried out on Israel in April this year, which also shocked the international community. If the scenario is as planned, it is only a matter of time before it happens. However, through hundreds of years of change, it is possible that the arrangement will also change depending on the will of the leaders. Do you think that the Masons have prepared another path instead of the calculations as in the mysterious letter? Your comments will make our videos more valuable. Let's give your personal opinion on today's topic in the comments section. For now, we say goodbye and see you again in the next videos. Hope everyone has a good day with family.